Welcome to Fuck Your Feelings.
Chill the fuck out, Greg. You're creeping me out.
Did you watch Chucky?
Oh yeah, I got 3 episodes in,
Yeah.
but I mostly turned it off. Like I think more of the woke shit came farther on because it was pretty woke and it was pretty, I don't know, in your face about it, but also the writing was terrible
I know.
and the acting was just terrible as well. So I was just like, my God, I can't even get through this.
That's and it was just like, because I think it was actually it was probably halfway through episode 1 that they just kind of like started going in your face that everybody's gay, and it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, apparently like every high school kid is gay and they have to tell you about it.
I know, and it's just like, it's so fucking different because like it's fucking Chucky, right? Like, as far as I know, Chucky kills gay kids.
Just as much as everybody else, you know?
Yeah. Well, now they're killing gay kids with all the fucking trans shit going on.
Yeah. Well, they're not helping anyway. I'm pretty sure we know that because I've seen some new statistics and post-op trannies are more likely to kill themselves than pre-op trannies. So, I mean, to be fair, if I lost my cock, I'd probably want to kill myself too.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Like, I I don't think they fully understand. Like, I mean, they should really have to meet with someone who's involuntarily lost a limb to find out what happens. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna choose to cut your dick off, you should be talking with someone before you cut your dick off who didn't choose to lose an arm and just see what their regrets are. You know what I mean? Like, get their point of view before you decide to just go under the knife.
Yeah, I mean, and also it wouldn't hurt to talk to somebody that went through it and regretted it. You know what I mean? Like that there was somebody on the Blair White podcast the other day. I think I sent you a link to it
Yeah.
where they had the surgery from male to female and they ended up regretting it and found out later on that it was just them being confused and they're actually a gay man and now they're a gay man without a dick basically.
Yeah. So
And
what
they're
I
really
got
upset.
from it was that they didn't know that they were allowed to be effeminate, right? And it's like, that's kind of where everybody's turning things nowadays. Is they don't want you to be you, they want you to be someone else. They don't want you to be a gay guy who dresses up like a woman, right? It's happened so many, it's still going on with all the fucking drag shows and shit, right? They don't want that anymore. They want you to just fucking commit. They want you to just go under the knife, become someone totally different.
Yeah, it's the person that was going through this was feeling like really, really pressured too, which is kind of like really messed up. Like they're like, oh yeah, like it's gonna be awesome, like this is like who you are and everything, and the person was like, yeah, I guess that must be who I am. And yeah, like you said, really they were just like a feminine gay man. So those have existed through like the annals of history pretty well.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
yeah, it's just everybody's saying, "Oh, well, if you like pink and you're a guy, then you must be like, you know, trapped in a man's body or something like that."
Yeah.
You know, it's getting at really out of hand to the point where kids are thinking that they're like trans when they're, you know, just going through the normal stages of puberty and like growing up.
Yeah, and like the whole, I don't know if I told you my theory about this, is that it's anything other than gay, straight, or bisexual is mental illness. That's my theory on that, because you're either attracted to guys, you're attracted to girls, or you're attracted to both. Right? That's the bottom line, right? Everybody wants to say that they're attracted to, oh, I'm just attracted to the personality. Okay, you're bisexual. That means you're attracted to men and women equally based on their personality. But everybody wants to come up with something to be different. And all of that is coming into effect now because everybody's saying that we're not going to address the mental health issues that you have unless you transition. Unless you go under life and you try this one thing, we're not going to help you. But they're also finding out that even after you do that, they really don't want to help you because they told you up until this was going to be the end all be all fix to your problems. And now it's not fixing all your problems. And they don't want to say like, yeah, like, sorry, we tried. We don't know what else to tell you now.
Well, it's such a permanent fix, right? Like, you don't know if your personality is going to change years down the road, or you're going to like change your mind about certain things and, not want to be a transsexual.
Yeah.
And it's a permanent thing. Like, you can't go back. There's no reversing it. And that's like really, really, really important decision that I think somebody that is an adult who's been like to a psychiatrist for like a long, long time, and they've been, pre-op for a long time and know that they want to do this.
Yeah, and like it's because the clip that you showed me about the Blair White, I almost said Blair Witch, the Blair White podcast, was like they mentioned bottom surgery, which is basically just cutting off and making a vagina out of it. So it's totally different to do that because there's a whole whack ton of nerves down there, as opposed to getting, I'm guessing they call it top surgery, a fake pair of tits, right? Like getting a fake pair of tits is so fucking common. It's everywhere. It's been done so many fucking times. I'm pretty sure you could get it done in an hour in fucking Mexico, right? And the bottom surgery, they've only really done like Brazilian butt lifts and shit like that, right? So now they're getting into more nerves when they focused on genitals. And that's the big problem is the people that are doing the surgeries don't know enough about the surgery to know what could and couldn't cause nerve damage. So like the example of the one that was on the Blair White podcast, fuck, I almost did it again, Blair Witch. The Blair White podcast mentioned that I can't remember what they referred to them as, he, she. I think they called them shapeshifter, to be honest. I think that's what they called them.
Yeah, their name is Shapeshifter, and I think they go by he.
Okay. That caught me off guard. I was like, shapeshifter, like, is this what we're calling like D-trans people? Like, is that what they are now? But they mentioned like the amount of nerve damage that goes on, not only to get the bottom surgery, but to also try and go back. There's people that have absolutely no feeling whatsoever. And I think Blair said it best is you got essentially the sex change and now you can't have sex.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And the way they do it for male to female is basically a wound that never heals.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly be dilating it with like a dildo or whatever, for lack of a better word, like a phallic object, so it doesn't close up. And this person was talking about how like hers, it didn't matter like how many times she did it, it still just wanted to close up because your body naturally wants to heal itself,
Yeah.
That's just something that's going to happen whether or not you want it to or not. So yeah, it's pretty bad. And it's, yeah. And then you get these female to male transgenders that are like getting their like tits cut off and stuff. And it's something that they won't grow back. It's not, you're not a
Yeah.
chameleon. They're not going to grow back. So if you ever want to go back to being, a female, you're gonna, first of all, not have any tits, and yes, you could probably go get plastic surgery, but you're gonna have scars from the initial surgery, and then you're gonna have scars from plastic surgery, so you're never gonna look natural again,
Yeah.
ever. So you're never gonna have that natural breast tissue back. I don't know how it works, but if you ever want to have a kid, I don't know if they can even breastfeed if they've had all their breast tissue removed. So it's a
No,
it's a
I'm pretty
huge
sure they
step.
remove the glands for it in that.
Probably, yeah.
I think it's a mastectomy or a mastectomy.
Yeah, and it's a huge step, and there's a lot of women who thought they were male transgenders that are coming out saying that they regret having the top surgery and they regret being on hormones because being on testosterone as a female, it will lower your voice and make you sound like a man. And these women are like coming out and like they got these really deep voices and they have to shave their face because they still get facial hair from the testosterone that they were on. A lot of this stuff is not reversible, so it's something that really needs to be thought out. I don't think it's anything to take lightly.
Yeah, and like the big problem that I have with what's going on is I think that it's basically the medical system preying on people with mental health issues. And I don't want to say using them as guinea pigs or as experiments, but that's essentially what's going on is you're getting these people who aren't comfortable with who they are to begin with. You're not even really trying to get them to be comfortable with who they are. You're trying to get them to be comfortable as someone else. Well, that it doesn't fucking work that way. Like I I I can't remember the saying exactly, but you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of others, right? So if you can't take care of the self that you currently are, what the fuck makes you think you're going to be able to take care of someone else? Because it may be the same body, but you're going to have so many more hormones in you that you've never had before. You might have had low levels before, but now you're amping them up. And now you don't have, I'll say, 18 years of tolerance built up to it. So you're going to destroy 18 years of tolerance with one and then try and basically like surge 18 years worth of tolerance in a short period of time. And it's just going to destroy you, not only just your body but your mind, right?
Yeah, and that's just the thing too. A lot of people who are transitioning are, depressed and suicidal and whatnot. And studies have been showing recently that it doesn't help to get any surgeries or go on hormones. In fact, it actually may be worse, and it actually may make the person more suicidal afterwards. So I don't think just because the um, psychiatrist went ahead and labeled gender dysphoria not as a mental illness anymore, that it actually is not a mental illness anymore. Because I do believe that it still is, and I
Yeah.
believe that that is the problem. It's just it's a mental illness, and it's something that we may find like a treatment for down the road, but it's not something that can be treated by hacking away at somebody's genitalia.
Yeah, and like I'll say this from a perspective that as someone who has depression and anxiety and shit like that. If I'm depressed and someone suggests to me you need to cut your dick off, I'm going to get even more fucking depressed because it's like, well, why do you want to get rid of that? Like, what the fuck? Why can't we just, keep it and work on more? Like, why can't we fix my head before we get rid of the other head?
Right. Yeah, and like a lot of a lot of the transgender community are coming out and speaking out about especially children transitioning, because that's like a new hot button topic
Oh, it's
that
retarded.
we've been seeing now. And like if you don't know enough to like be able to be responsible enough to drink or go in like the army, buy a pack of smokes. You shouldn't have the ability to go on hormone blockers, puberty blockers, you know, opposite gender hormones. It's crazy that they're allowing kids to fuck with themselves like this. Like you would not allow a child to go out and get wasted, would you? Obviously not. We have like a whole system set up that, we know that that's bad for kids, but we're allowing them to take testosterone as females or estrogen as males. Seems a little
Yeah,
fucked up.
and like, because that's kind of something that I've been wondering is like, because it kind of coincides with the whole pandemic that's going on, is because they're trying to vaccinate kids that are under 5 years old, right? So
Right.
we don't know how that's going to work. We don't even know how that's going to work in adults, let alone kids under 5 years old. And now
Mhm.
kids under 5 years old are going to daycares and starting school with teachers that are actively, very, very actively pushing their agenda into the children by like, I don't want to say that the pride flag is part of the problem with the trans, because it's two totally different things, but it's still kind of within the same thing. But when it comes to like, I seen a clip, I can't remember if it was yesterday or today, about a teacher saying that I think it was 95% of her class, and I'm pretty sure it was like grade 2 or grade 3, identifies as trans and genderqueer. And I'm like, hold on. These are the same kids that would eat nothing but fucking candy all fucking day for every meal for the rest of their life if they were given the option. And you want to tell me that they know what's best for them? Come on.
Yeah. I actually question the motives of some of these people that are pushing this stuff on kids. It's very sleazy, and it's definitely grooming a lot of the time, especially when they're talking about like, oh, Mrs. Smith is a genderqueer or a demisexual or something like that. Like kids don't need to know that shit.
Right,
Like
yeah.
kids don't need to know your sexual preference or your gender. They just need to learn their fucking studies, man. Like it's crazy. And then they wonder why people are getting pissed and why parents are getting pissed. Because like a heterosexual teacher isn't like, going up to them and being like, "Oh yeah, I like having sex with my wife." Imagine if a teacher, a grown man, said that to like a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah,
You'd
and
be
it's
like, "Oh my god, groomer! Oh my god, groomer!" Right? That would be the first thing that would pop into every single person's head.
and
And they're
I,
doing the same thing, but because it's LGBTQ, whatever, it's perfectly okay to these people.
and I I have a theory that all of the teachers that are pushing their LGBTQ LMNOP beliefs onto the children that they're teaching, I have a theory that they're all pedophiles, because there's absolutely no room for any sort of sexuality or anything like that in a classroom with kids who haven't even hit puberty yet. Like they're not even preteens in most cases, and you're talking to them about sexuality. Like it shouldn't be brought up unless the child asks you about it. You don't want the child to walk in the class and be like, "Hey, did you oh, fuck, I don't know. I can't really go more into it without sounding like a fucking pedophile, but I think you know where I'm getting, is like you can't just meet the child at the door and ask them the questions that you want answers to. You have to answer their questions, right? You're there to teach them. They're not there to teach you. They don't care what you think their gender is, but for some reason you care what their gender is.
Yeah, and it's so much worse than what I described. Like, what I described was the most like innocent thing that I've seen. I've seen some crazy stuff like um prepubescent kids having classes on self-pleasure and shit like that. Like that is some creepy pedo shit. I don't care what anybody
Yeah.
says. So these people are, like you said, all pedos, or they've been completely brainwashed into this cult. And yeah, it's one or the other, and I'm leaning more towards pedo, to be honest.
And the same teachers that are doing this, now I don't want it to sound like we hate all teachers. Teachers are fucking awesome. You get the best teacher in the world, they could teach you the whole dictionary, the whole fucking encyclopedia. But it's that one teacher that you don't fucking like that leaves an impression on you. And that's that one teacher that just fucking can destroy a person as much as a forced gender reassignment surgery. And it's just the same teachers that are pushing this LGBTQ agenda onto their students are also the same teachers that seem to be supporting drag shows at family events with like burlesque undertones and shit like that. And it that's two huge red flags for me right there, because it's one thing to teach a child what a gender is. It's another one to dance and show them. You know what I mean? Like, you're not
Yeah.
going to take a 6-year-old to a strip club, but you'll take
Mm,
him to a drag show. Like, come on.
a drag show where they're stripping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you said, with like burlesque undertones, it's way worse than that. I've seen some real bad ones. Like this no, it's not tranny. What do they call them? Cross dressers, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, a dude in a dress and flamboyant makeup and stripping off his clothes down to like a bra and a thong, and little kids like 6, 7 years old going up and putting dollar bills in this man's thong.
Yeah.
Like, that is some sadistic, disgusting, grooming pedophilia. And I can't understand why these parents would allow their kids to be exposed to this. Like you said, you would not take your kid to a strip joint. Why are you taking them to a drag show where they're stripping, they're in drag and stripping? Like,
Yeah.
it just boggles the mind. Oh, inclusiveness. No, that's not inclusiveness. That's pedophile shit.
Yeah. And the problem now is, I I'd say probably about 50% of parents feel obligated to take their kids to this, because the other 50% of parents who don't feel obligated, who just do it, their kids are all in the same classes, right? So the parents are kind of doing it so that the kid feels better in class. So it I think it's kind of boiling down to, I don't want to say peer pressure, but that the pressure that society is putting on parents to say, if your kid doesn't go to this, your kid is transphobic, and the other kids in class are going to label them as transphobic, and then your child's going to have more mental health issues than they already have being in a classroom with a teacher who's using the word transphobic or using the word trans or using the word gender or anything like that, right? Because the moment you bring that up with kids who have no idea what the fuck you're talking about, their mind just goes into a different state, and they're trying to figure out, why are we talking about this? What does this have to do with Clifford the Big Red Dog? You know what I mean?
And that is a great argument for homeschooling or private schooling.
Oh, absolutely. If I had the patience, I'd do fucking. I'd homeschool kids left, right, and center. My own kids, of course. I'm not going to take in strangers' kids, but like, the amount of information that is being suppressed in the schools by the stuff that's going on now in the classrooms, hidden behind this rainbow flag, is just it's utter bullshit. These kids are never going to need to know what pronoun they should use when they file their taxes.
Right. Yeah, imagine if that's your biggest worry. But yeah, I am 100% in favor of homeschooling and or private schooling. things that I've seen from public schools turn my stomach, and it's happening like in every major city across the country and in America. And yeah, it's homeschool your kids, people.
Yeah.
Your kids do not need to be exposed to that stuff. And like they say like these pride parades, they say that they're good for all ages, right? But then you
Yeah.
got fully naked people walking down the street. Like in
Oh, but they're
Toronto,
not naked. It's a mesh. It's a mesh thong that you can see through. They're still clothed.
the ones I saw didn't even have mesh, bro. They were
No,
just
I know.
full on.
That's
They had a choke collar on. That's it. Dick swinging, tits swinging, walking down the middle of Yonge Street in Toronto. And people are like, if I did that and I wasn't waving a rainbow flag and it wasn't on Pride Day, I'd get arrested. But these people can just walk right past 6-year-olds with their big old wangs hanging out, and nobody fucking says anything. Nobody does anything. The cops standing right there. Come on. That's
and
fucked up.
if
That's the
I go
most
to the dollar
fucked up
store
shit.
tomorrow and buy a rainbow flag and instantly strip naked and run down the street waving the flag, I guarantee I'm getting fucking arrested.
Hey, maybe. Just be like, you're transphobic. What are you talking about?
But yeah, it's just baffling that it's, I don't want to say accepted, but
it is accepted when the cops
sponsored
don't
by
do anything
like
about it.
municipalities and counties and provinces, right? Like, why are we putting so much money into that instead of putting money into mental health, into healthcare, into stuff that could actually fix what's going on in people and their brains? Why
Well,
aren't we fixing that?
a lot of these people need mental health help because nobody with sane mental health wants to walk down the street completely naked in front of a bunch of 6-year-olds.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, I do it up until he said the 6-year-olds, but yeah, like it's
No, but like these people are bringing their kids to these pride parades. It's supposed to be all ages, and then shit like this is going on. Like 10 years ago, maybe 20, that would be not even considered. Like people would be like, "Nah, that's fucked up. Like that's some pedophile shit." But now just because the LGBT movement is all for it, oh, if you're not for it, then you must be a bigot, you must be a transphobe, you must be, homophobe or whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
No, I'm none of those things. I'm just in favor of not grooming kids.
yeah, and like the if anybody wants to label me a phobe, anything, I don't give a flying fuck what you want to label me. My opinion is you need to fix the mental health of people who are under the belief that there's more than gay, straight, and bisexual. You know what I mean? Like, it explain to people what that is. I know there's going to be a lot of people that say like, "Oh, you're missing the whole point of gender queer and gender fluid." You know what? The only gender fluid I got is when I fucking jerk off in the morning. That's the only gender fluid that there is.
Yeah. I'm telling you, bro, this is the most fucked up time to be alive. I feel like it's going to start going back the other way, and people are going to start waking up and being like, you know what, maybe my kids shouldn't be around this stuff. Maybe we shouldn't allow Dave from accounting to walk around naked, walking down Young Street. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like people are going to smarten the fuck up sooner or later.
I hope they're going to smarten the fuck up. I don't think they're going to. I hope they do. I got no faith in humanity anymore because it's just it's baffling to think of it this way. If back when we were in high school, right? Like if we were in high school right now, could you imagine going on a date with someone and you're already nervous as shit because you're in high school, your hormones are raging all over the fucking place. It's someone that you like. You have to figure out how to ask them their pronouns so you don't offend them, so you blow your chance with them. And not only that, you have to wonder what's in the pants. Like it's bad enough that you're so fucking stressed out that you're on your first date and you're having a good time, And then, as teenagers do, hands start to wander, and you're going to be wondering, what the fuck am I going to be touching in a minute? Like, that's a whole other line of fucking anxiety for teenagers to worry about that they shouldn't have to fucking worry about. You don't want to go on a date with someone that you like and be caught off guard, right?
Oh man, back when we were in high school, when the alphabet people had 3 letters of the alphabet, now they got like 10.
What 3 letters did they have? I don't even remember anything. I
It was
remember
LGB, lesbian, gay, bisexual. That's it. That's all it was when we were in high school. And they had like their little class where it was like five people went there at lunchtime to like discuss LGB issues, and nobody really gave a fuck, and it was fine. And now look at it. We should have fucking did something about it back then.
Well, look at it this way. The whole time that we were in school, like I'll look at it from elementary school all the way to graduation. Can you think of any classmates that committed suicide?
No, 0.
Me neither. And now it's so fucking common because everybody is trying to make everybody accept everybody. So there's another layer of anxiety on teenagers, on students that just shouldn't be there. They're going to school to learn how to function in society, and that's pretty much it. They're not even being taught how to function in society, but that's what people think that they're going there for. They're essentially just going to school to be brainwashed into fucking consumers.
Yeah, it just feels like kids can't even be kids anymore, you know? Like when I grew up, I didn't have a cell phone on me at all times. Like I didn't have a computer till like I think it was like after high school, and like you know what I mean? Like these kids are getting like smartphones that can access like anything on the web at ages like 10 or whatever, or sometimes even younger, like 5, whatever, right? And there's like all this like fucking porn and shit, and I'm not like anti-porn or anything, but I'm anti allowing children to see porn. So that really warps your brain at a young age, I feel. And seeing a lot of like horrible shit like that, that's got to affect the mental health of children. I don't know. I know if I seen some of the stuff that I've seen when like as I'm older, when I was like 10 or whatever, man, like that would have fucked me up for life. I just know it.
Let's put it this way. I was suspended, maybe 3 times in high school.
Yeah.
If they told me that I had to use pronouns and I had to support a rainbow flag and that the lyrics to "O Canada" were no longer "All Thy Sons Command," I would have been suspended a whole lot more than 3 times if they told me I had to do all this other shit. Like it's I can't even think of. I honestly probably would have been expelled within the first week if they told me, you got to make sure you know everybody's pronouns. You can't turn that rainbow flag upside down because there's a hierarchy or some shit. Like, fuck you, fuck the horse you rode in on, and peace. Right? Like that's week 1.
Yeah, like I don't see any problem with allowing kids to speak freely in school as long as like they're doing it like in a respectful manner. Like if I don't want to use somebody's pronouns, why should I be forced to? That goes for school, that goes for real life, you know, at a workplace, you know. Compelled speech is never something that I will be in favor of no matter what.
Yeah, and that's the problem where everything's going towards compelled speech because we can't just use someone's name anymore. I can't say I was talking to Jimmy the other day and Jimmy told me this. It has to be I was talking to Jimmy the other day and him told me this. Right? Like fuck off. Like just use the fucking name. Use the name that person is staying with. Pronouns don't mean shit. If pronouns mean so much to you, change your name legally to those pronouns. A challenge for anybody who comes at me saying I can't use their name, I have to use pronouns. Change your name to your fucking pronouns.
Yeah, if anybody came at me with that, I would tell them to go fuck themselves. Like if they said, "No, you can't use my name. You got to use this," I'm like, "No, I'm gonna use your name, or I'm just gonna tell you fuck off." Like that's not my prerogative to, make you feel good about yourself. Maybe that makes me an asshole, but I don't really care.
I mean, it all boils down to millions and billions of people on this planet. Who the fuck cares about one other person's opinion? And even we'll say they claim they're the minority. Fuck, that didn't roll off my tongue. They claim they're minorities with the LGBTQ 2S plus IA whatever. But the amount of time that it's taking people to just keep adding letters, to keep fucking piling shit on is just like it's phenomenal that they don't have the full alphabet. You know what I mean? Like when are they going to start using like Aramaic letters and shit like that, right? Like how long until they run out of letters and run out of acronyms that they start changing languages?
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's not even something I think about, but I don't know. They can do what they want and keep using the alphabet if they want. I don't really care, but I'm not. As long as you stay out of my fucking face and don't push your shit on my kids and don't like push your shit on me, because I ain't gonna have that either. So
Yeah. And like even like it when it comes down to it, I can deal with people trying to push beliefs on me. No problem. If you want to try and push shit on me? Cool. I'll push right the fuck back with my beliefs. And if we have a good debate, cool. But the moment you try and push your beliefs onto, at this point, I'm going to say anyone in my family and they want nothing to do with it, or you're doing it and you're expecting a debate and they don't want to do it, I got a problem with that. I can be so tolerant up until a point. I have more patience than I think people give me credit for when it comes to people pushing beliefs on me. But when you push beliefs on other people, people that I care about, you better watch the fuck out because I got no criminal record. I'll get probation my first time.
yeah, touche.
Well, I won't anymore because now it's premeditated, but yeah.
Oh damn! Don't publish this one. Edit that part out.
Oh, fuck that. Come at me.
Yeah, you want to go the Boris Johnson thing now, or?
Yeah, you'll probably have to take the lead on this one because all I know is that he's choosing to resign, but he's going to temporarily stay the prime minister or something like that. That's the majority of what I know about what's happened.
Yeah, I heard he resigned basically because his own party isn't even supporting him anymore, because during like the pandemic when he imposed all these lockdowns and stuff, he was having like parties at his like residence, bring your own booze parties, like all kinds of stuff. And yeah, he did a lot of like underhanded stuff. A lot of his like cabinet members were just kind of like breaking his own rules and like going off and partying and not social distancing and stuff like that. So there's a few other things I'm not sure about, but he eventually, his own party basically said, yeah, we don't support you and what you did. So he resigned. But the thing is with him, he's only done a fraction of what Justin Trudeau has done. And Justin Trudeau's cabinet ministers still back him. His MPs still back him, which is freaking insane. They have no integrity, these liberal MPs, zero. And NDP ones, zero integrity. This guy has been twice caught with ethics violations. Blackface when he was 29 years old, not a little kid. 29. He wasn't some teenager, 17. No, he was 29 and a teacher. And Also, the We Charity scandal, and that could have been an ethics violation, but it wasn't for some reason. And now we have the RCMP thing where he's telling the RCMP to disclose information on the type of weapons used by the Nova Scotia shooter that killed like 20 something people. Um, Even though the RCMP told him that it would hurt their investigation if it was released too early. And there's just, I could keep going. Like, I don't even know where to, like, I could just keep going with other things. But this man is the epitome of what's wrong with Canada and what's wrong with the world. And he's too arrogant, narcissistic to resign. We both know he's not resigning.
Yeah, like there's no way that he's not going to end his term early voluntarily by any means whatsoever. And the fact that Boris Johnson resigned himself, and from the sounds of it, he was only doing what every other fucking politician in the world was doing, was just telling people, stay home, stay safe, stay off the streets, go home, do a line of coke, take a private jet to another country, take a vacation. You know what I mean? Like, we all know all the politicians were all doing this shit. But it's different when your own people under you are like, yeah, man, like you just took it too far. Like we got to ask you to step down. Like we can't have you blowing hookers in Taiwan or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's bad when your own cabinet that is probably with you on the private jet says, yeah, man, it's time for you to call it quits.
Right, and the fact that he only did like two or three things where Justin Trudeau has a laundry list of things, like I probably couldn't fit it all on a sheet of paper. The things that he's done and gotten away with, and his MPs still back him. They have no integrity, no balls, nothing, man. They're pathetic snakes, like underbelly. It's disgusting, man. I've never seen anything like it. And I thought I had a good idea of what like politics in Canada were, but now I see that it's everybody watching their own ass.
Oh man, yeah, like everything has changed since fucking Justin Trudeau took over. Like politics is no longer politics. Like I want to say it's a popularity contest now, but it's always been a popularity contest, but now it's more of a popularity contest without people caring about who's popular, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, it's a popularity contest, and it's also like a whatever I have to do to keep my job contest, because a lot of the cabinet ministers and MPs will know that if they go against Trudeau, they might not have a spot in the Liberal Party anymore. But at some point, you got to stand up and have some integrity. You know, you got to have a conscience. You got to have some sort of backbone, some sort of spine to stand up to this man and say, no, you've gone too far. You know, even if it's one or two, that might start having other people speak out about it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, like the absolute best thing that could happen right now, it sounds like a fucking stupid thing to say, but it's for politicians to wise up. Like, if one does it, others might follow. And if I see in the news that one politician from the Liberal Party crossed, even if they crossed to the NDP side or the fucking PC side, as long as they cross the floor and join a different party, my interest has just been piqued in politics again, because now there's something happening, right? Now it's just basically writing down pieces of information on paper and just handing notes around to their buddies, right? Like there's nothing happening. They say that they're doing this, that, and the other thing, but it's the same shit they've been touting since they got in office, basically.
Yeah, I would even like give them props if they voted against Trudeau in one thing in Parliament. And like it could have been the Emergencies Act, you know, it could have been if there was a vote of no confidence in Trudeau. Like those two things would have been perfect time for somebody to stand up and have a backbone, have a spine, and you know, stand up to the tyrant that is ruling our country.
Yeah, and it's like I know they don't do it because they'll be like, "Well, I'll have no party to go to," but I can guarantee if one person on the Liberal Party votes against them, Trudeau will replace them. But then all the other fucking parties, at least the Conservative Party, would be like, "Hey, come on over here. Like, we got a nice fancy seat over here for you. We're willing to take you in, no questions asked." You know what I mean? Like, don't worry about
100%.
being with fucking Justin Trudeau and having him upset at you. We got the whole fucking, I don't want to say the whole country behind us, but they pretty much do at this point because it's
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody that is willing to do that on a ballot would be somebody that I would be more willing to vote for. Somebody that's willing to go with their morals, with their like ideals, and with the good of the country over party lines. You know, I think that would be for the good of the country to have voted down that Emergency Act. And I think they would have been heralded as a hero throughout the entire country just for voting, even if it still passed. If they would have went against Trudeau, they'd have been like, "Oh wow, this guy actually has ethics, an ethical politician. My God!" And then the Liberals, for you know, like a unicorn.
Yeah, and like if think about it this way, if someone did step against Trudeau and managed to stay in the Liberal Party, that would work in Trudeau's benefit majorly because they know that that one seat is a guaranteed seat because people support that person and use their voice. Like it's essentially at that point having a mole in the Liberal Party is if someone turns against Trudeau and Trudeau is just so fucking stupid that he decides to just keep them just so he can get the seat, that one seat can turn into two, can turn into so much more, right?
Oh, you got to think that would be a guaranteed seat for that Liberal, because he would
Absolutely.
get not only the Liberal vote, he would get a large portion of the Conservative vote, I think, too, that
Yeah.
respects him for voting against the Liberals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like at this point right now, if there's someone in my riding that I know stood up and I don't want to say directly told Justin Trudeau to suck their cock, but did it in a political way, my vote instantly. I don't fucking care what their backstory is. I don't care what their policies are. That would guarantee my vote if they told Justin Trudeau to fuck off. And it doesn't matter what party they go to, that'll guarantee my vote for them.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I agree with that. Honestly, at this point, we just need a change. I know it's going to be a while, and it's really funny how bad one of our other politicians, the leader of the NDP party, got ratioed on Twitter. He was talking crap about the Liberals, and he got like, I think it was like 700 or 800 likes and over 3,000 comments. And most of the comments were like, if the Liberals are so bad, why you keep propping them up? Why are you like, you know, keeping them in power? You could get them out of power. They're terrible. Why don't you do your job?
Yeah.
Why don't you do something about it? And he obviously doesn't reply to any of them, but he got ratioed so horribly, and it was so magical to watch, and it was hilarious. But yeah, he could easily overthrew, but you know why he doesn't want to do that? Because once 2025 hits, he gets a big fat golden pension for being a politician.
Yeah.
And that's when his pension will start. So he's chasing that money just like the capitalist he is. He says he's like this socialist. He's for like the working class, and he's trying to like redistribute the wealth and all this stuff. Really, he's only looking out for number one. That's all he's doing. He could help this country by doing a no confidence vote, but he refuses to for his own greed.
Yeah, and I'll honestly say, it had to have been the first time that he ran. I voted for him because at that point he hadn't really shown his true colors, and what he was preaching sounded reasonable compared to what everybody else was preaching. Right, like it was more directed to someone like me, and it was different to see someone of his background address people who aren't in his background and say he wants to help them. That was kind of what got me to vote for him. And since then, he's not seen another one of my votes because he's just fucking useless at this point. He's just the third pole on the tripod right now.
Yeah, and that just really goes to show you how far the NDP have fallen since Jack Layton. That man actually had integrity and a backbone and a conscience. He was a leader. And it harpens back to like another leader from way back of the NDP, Tommy Douglas. That was another one who really fought for Canada and fought for the people of Canada. And it's really disgusting to see how far the NDP have fallen. And I know a lot of people who voted NDP the last two elections, and I mean a lot, who will never vote for them again. And it's strictly because of Jagmeet Singh voting for the Emergencies Act and what happened after with the police presence and the Gestapo kicking out the people. Yeah, they're pointing that directly at Trudeau and Jagmeet.
Yeah, and like I have a feeling that the absolute last chance for freedom that Canada had died with Jack Layton, because he was basically the unicorn that we needed to catch, and unfortunately we didn't.
Yeah, I don't know what the future holds for Canada, but I think I am optimistic. I do think that the Conservatives are going to win at least a minority in 2025, as long as people don't have very short memories about what happened.
Yeah.
But I do think Pierre Poilievre is probably going to get the leadership role. And I think he's probably going to be the next prime minister. I would say I'm about 80% confident that he's going to get at least a minority.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because part of me wants to see what happens if the NDP gets like lead minority. You know what I mean? Like, what would Jagmeet do if he had Harper, or not fucking Harper, if he had fucking Trudeau in his back pocket, right? Like, what would he do? Because I guarantee it wouldn't be the same course of action that's going on now, where he's relying on Trudeau. It would be where Trudeau is relying on him, right? So I'm curious to see how that would play out.
Yeah, I think it would play out very similarly. I think that they would just make a deal to pass each other's bills like they did now. And it would just be more of the same because they're both left leaning, right? So I think it would be very similar. I would not want to see it. I think that would be even worse than what we have now. I think the best outcome for the next election would be a conservative majority or a conservative minority with the PPC as a backing. Like if they had enough PPC seats so the conservatives and the PPC could work together and form a majority government, that would probably be the best outcome, because then even the PPC could probably hold them in check, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fucking like,
that would be awesome.
If there's a dream team, that's it right there. The cons
Right.
of PPC, minority coalition.
Yeah.
Fucking that's the dream team that Canada needs. Canada might not want it right now, but that's what we need, because the amount of shit that's just getting thrown to the curb at this point is just fucking ridiculous. Like I think I sent you the clip where Trudeau was talking about freezing gun sales and he used the word banning instead of
Yeah.
freezing. And it's like, that's a. I don't watch. I haven't seen any mention of that. And it's like, hello, like, drunk words, sober thoughts. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Everybody needs to put two and two together and realize that he shouldn't even be thinking of the word banning. He shouldn't be banning anything. But he let it slip that he's banning at least one thing, and no one's talking about it.
Yep. Basically, it was a Freudian slip. He
Yeah.
said the quiet part loud.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's not good. It's not good in Canada. It hasn't been good in Canada for a while. At least in America, they have the right to self-defense with a firearm. In Canada, you don't have a right to self-defense with a firearm, which is just utter sickening to my stomach to think about. Apparently, it's been like that for a long time, but
yeah. But it's never
just
really
wrong.
been as big of an issue as it is now, because now the government is actually trying to remove not just you, but everything you own. So everybody's kind of worried about, like, well, how do I stop them? Well, newsflash, you don't. You just fucking, you try and stop them, you end up in jail, and they take it anyway. Or you just let them take it. Or you fucking barricade them out and you go out firing. I'm fully willing to go out firing. Not a problem with that.
Yeah, it's very stupid. I don't think Canada is ever going to get to a point where it's going to have the same rights to self-defense as America does, which is sad. And it's mostly because we're an offshoot of Britain that never fought to gain its independence. So we're always going to be like the little brother to England,
Yeah.
which really sucks.
I think that, like, ever since they started the whole COVID vaccine program, I've been saying that there's going to be a two-tier society soon. And it, like, we're not there right now. We're pretty fucking close, because everybody wants you to be fully vaccinated to work and to go places, to travel within the country. We're getting to that two-tier society where you're either with or against. But what else is going to happen is all the people that are vaccinated, there's going to be another two-tier society in there where it's going to be fully vaccinated, and then you're either going to be LGBTQ or you're going to be straight. If you're LGBTQ, you're going to have the right to defend yourself. If you're straight, you're not going to have that right. That's where I think it's going.
Yeah, they're even going to a point where they're not even calling people with 2 boosters fully vaccinated anymore. They're not even calling anybody fully vaccinated anymore. They're calling it up to date with your booster.
Yeah.
So there's no fully vaccinated anymore, according to Canada. You're either up to date or you're not up to date, which is fucking crazy. And they're going to bring back the mandates. You and I both know they're going to be
absolutely.
like, oh, now you have to have 3, you got to have your booster, or you can't eat at a restaurant or whatever. And it's just going to go right back to the same thing. And there's people are going to fight back. And there's people like, I am done with the mandates. I am done with all the mandates. I mean, masks, everything. If I get told to wear masks, like if they bring back the mask mandates, they can suck my dick. I am not shopping in a store where they're gonna ask me to wear a mask ever again.
Yeah. Oh, I'll shop there. I ain't fucking wearing a mask.
Yeah, well,
You know what I mean? I got no problem throwing down $5 spite dollars to get them to fucking, like, call the police to kick me out because I want a fucking cappuccino or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, I got no problem stirring that fucking pot and fucking going after whatever the fuck I want, because fuck you. It's your policy. It's not my policy. And at this point, it's not even the government's policy saying that I have to wear a mask in your store. They're leaving it up to the people who own the store. But what's definitely going to happen is, like, we were talking about it the other day, once it starts winding down, it's going to be oh, there's unprecedented cases of COVID, this would be the super duper variant of whatever, and all the vaccines aren't going to work unless you have all 4 shots. And then there's going to be another one. You need another 5th shot. And then while all this is being thought out, they're going to have us as a country locked down while they decide how to basically force needles into our arms again. And people don't see that coming, even though it's been coming the last 2 years. They open up the Atlantic bubble in the summer, they close it in the fall. They open it in the summer, they close it in the fall. Now there's no Atlantic bubble, but we're open. Well, what's going to happen next? They're going to lock everything down. And they're going to say, because now there's no mask mandates that there was the other 2 times, they're going to blame people for going out without masks, even though the government said it was okay. They're going to blame those people for the lockdown. And they want basically the people who are just kissing the ground that Trudeau walks on, they want them to basically turn against people who won't kiss the ground he walks on.
Oh yeah, they're gonna eat it up. They're gonna eat it up. The Trudeau lovers are way too far gone. But you know what I'm gonna do if they bring back mask mandates? I'm going to walk in without a mask, grab a basket, fill it up with as much shit as I can, and as soon as somebody says you have to put a mask on and leave, I'm taking that basket and walking out with it.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yep, let me go get my mask. Psych.
I gotta run to my car. Oh, can you leave that here? I could.
No, I'm not.
We're not advocating theft or anything.
This
like
basket is my security blanket, just like that mask is your security blanket.
But it's funny because, like, I'll walk in to the hospital and, like, I'll literally see a lineup of people at the COVID vaccination screening desk inside the hospital, and I just walk right fucking past it, and no one says a fucking word to me. But all these people are just willingly lined up to prove that they're vaccinated, almost like it's a badge that they just want to show people. And it just baffles my mind that people want to say, I got my needle. Here, look, I got my needle. This is proof I got my needle. Instead of just walk past the fucking thing. No one has ever said anything to me about walking past it. Fucking nothing. I get weird looks because I'm probably the only one walking around the hospital without a mask on, but I don't give a flying fuck. I'm already in the hospital. If I get sick, I'm already in the fucking hospital.
Yeah, well, I think it's like a badge of honor to some people to brag about it, and like how many they've had. And also, I think it's more of a herd mentality type thing, where it's like they're like going with the herd. Like they can't really they don't want to think for themselves. They just do whatever authority asks. Apparently, only there's a really interesting test where they had these. It was back in I think the 70s. I don't know if you've heard about this, but they had this wall in between 2 subjects, and one of them had a button to press, and the other one, it was like set up where they pretended like the other person on the other side was getting shocked. You've heard about this?
Yeah.
And the person kept telling them to keep shocking them and making it worse and worse, all the way up to like a shock that would kill them. And because the authority kept telling them to do it, they kept doing it. And I think it was only 20% of the people actually did not administer the shocks up to death, which is a scary fucking thought when 80% of the people are just going to be like, I was just doing my job. When we killed all those people, I was just doing my job.
That rings a bell. Anyway.
Right? But yeah, that is a scary fucking thought, man.
There's a social experiment that I seen on YouTube. Now, I know social experiments on YouTube are mostly fake, whatever. But this one kind of summed up what we were just talking about. And it was basically just a guy trolling a whole bunch of people. So I can't remember if he had a sign or not, but he basically just stood in the middle of nowhere and would just see if people would just line up behind him. And well, I don't want to say the middle of nowhere. I think it was like Times Square or something like that. And within like 15 minutes, there was like 30 people lined up behind him, and no one had any idea what they were lined up for. They just seen a
my
line
God.
and they got in line. And it was just like, what the fuck? Like,
That reminds me of one that I saw on Facebook. It was an elevator, and they had all these actors facing the back of the elevator, and this person got on that wasn't an actor, and they wanted to see if this person would face the back of the elevator instead of the front like a normal person. So everybody getting on and off were all actors. So it goes to like 3 different floors, and like all the actors are all facing back. And this person like slowly turns themselves to facing the back of the elevator. And I'm like, that is society right there.
yeah.
Well, what do you think? Should we wrap it up? I'd probably got to get going here soon. So
Yeah, I mean, we covered a whole shit ton of shit tonight, and it's just there's no better way to address everything than just fucking get it out, just get it unfiltered, and for the most part, everything we've been talking about is either in mainstream media that people are just choosing not to see, or it's just facts that people are choosing not to hear. And we just need people to wake up and not be woke. Wake up. Don't be woke.
wake up from the woke coma.
Yeah.
And that, my friends, was fuck your feelings.